No, we interrupted each other.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Dumplings and Chai Time. I'm one of your hosts, Ankita Singh, and I'm joined by...
I'm Benjamin Tay. Guess I'm the other host, but today we're just hosting each other. Today is our...
We are the host.
Wow, it sounds so much creepier when you say it like that.
I know.
We wanted to do this side podcast to Dumplings and Dragons to talk about the campaign, our experiences with D&D, and also just, I guess, how awesome it is to see more and more Asians in the industry, all for Asian representation, which is so startling to find out that some people still don't think it matters. But
or don't even know it exists.
Yeah, like
literally.
What would you like to begin asking me, or would you like me to ask you first?
Oh, I'm so thankful that you are asking, Ben. That sounded kind of weird. But, just before we start, just want to shout out MoveSpace for, I was going to say sponsoring us, but kind of, yeah, hosting us in their space. And where are we? Mount Eden somewhere?
Yep.
Yeah. And, yeah, they're a really cool co-working space. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah, big thanks to Kiran and Sugi, who, we just had a big chat with. Got to know so many of each other's life stories, which is amazing and so much fun. Yeah, if you're in the Auckland area and you need a place to work and chill out at creatively, MoveSpace on Dominion Road.
Yeah, Dominion Road. Yeah, is a perfect place.
It's either going to be in the Mount Eden or Balmoral suburbs.
I'm really directionally challenged, so yeah.
I'm just challenged in every way.
All right, so I guess, Ben, I can start by asking you
sure, go
about your life. Hey, do you want to start talking about, what inspired you to do D&D, or should we start from, I was born on a stormy night?
Well, I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast talking about why and how we all got introduced into creative maneuvers was essentially because whenever I listen to the D&D podcasts that I listen to and hear the backstories behind the players, that always fascinates me. Like how you have the Adventure Zone is 3 dudes playing D&D with their dad, and then you find out that the dad used to be a full-time radio DJ. It seems like it's so cool that they're just carrying on the tradition just in a different medium that now works for them. Or there's a Critical Role that has Between the Sheets, and you hear the backstory of all the players. Super cool.
So what is your origin story, Benjamin Tay?
I was telling someone the other day, very recently, everything creative in my life comes from skateboarding at the age of 13, because I was never great, but I loved skateboarding. It was the most important thing for the longest time. And it got me into videography because I wanted to make skate videos. And then I figured out that, man, working with film cameras was going to be way too stressful because it was still film before we went to digital then.
Oh, damn, you're that old.
I'm that old.
Oh, my God.
Yep. And then from that went into pursuing film directing for the longest time. And even though I'm not the hugest fan of Martin Scorsese, for some reason I was I want to be like that guy. I want to be like that guy. I want to be making those kind of films. And then in my final year of university, was not selected for the directing stream. And yeah, I don't think I had a breakdown, but I had a pause of, oh wow, if I'm not good enough at this level, maybe I'm not good enough. And that's when Shuji Kathari, who's the screenwriting lecturer at Auckland University, invited me into her office and said, why don't you think about doing the screenwriting stream? She said 2 things I think I never heard of before, and that was, one of them was, you have a very unique voice. Never really thought of my voice as unique before. And she said that she'd been keeping an eye on me, which at the time was just I've been watched over by an angel. Shout out to Shuji Kothari.
Yeah, fairy godmother. Literally, for Ben.
Oh, for so many of us. So many of the Asian
yeah.
creatives in New Zealand. And I can seriously see like the progression. It all came down from skateboarding, which many people be like, I can't even see you as a skater boy. And like, that was my life for a long time.
Yeah. Did you have like the long emo hair? Did you have the Chuck
No,
Taylors?
no, it was baggy pants all the way,
Like the cargo
the
pants?
cargo pants. Like, if you know skateboarding and if you follow like the DC brand of shoes, and for a while he wrote for Reebok, Stevie Williams. I loved the Stevie Williams aesthetic, which was like tank top, like your hair up in a do rag, and then like just baggy jeans.
Oh, it was of its moment. That
And
fashion.
I was never that cool, but it sparked off a whole journey for me.
It was a black hole that you fell into.
Yeah,
You skated into.
Yeah, legit. And
That's so interesting. Like the first time you told me about you skating, I was so surprised because like I've only known you as like a writer, actor, and now DM for us. So it was so surprising to hear that was such a major part of your life for like what 8 years?
oh, longer than that.
Well,
Like I feel it was 13, and I don't think I fully gave up until I was teaching Anjula Prakash, one of my friends, how to skate, and she's taken to it like a fish to water. And whenever I see her videos on Instagram, I'm so like stoked that she's pursued it so hard. But I was teaching how to skate on the day that I did irreparable damage to my left ankle, and I fell weird, like my whole left leg bruised up. I went to see that. I went to
damn.
get it checked out by a ultrasound and X-ray tech, and the ultrasound tech looked at the ultrasound. And it was like he burst out laughing and said, "I can Your average healthy human calf has 3 major ligaments. I cannot find any sign of your third." And he said, "My official diagnosis is I think you exploded it."
What the fuck?
And I think that's when I was like, I think I might have to stop skateboarding now. And
Oh,
hilariously, that's when I was like,
dude.
okay, well, if I have to stop doing that, then I think like me dedicating all that time and energy that I put into skateboarding is now going to go into martial arts. So it's been regular pains all my life, but now
Yeah, that sounds so painful, man.
it was weird because it wasn't that painful, but I remember being shocked at how much my leg bruised up.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Must have been all the adrenaline at that time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And I thought I was healing real fast, but my physio looked at it and was like, your bruising looks weird. I don't think that you're recovering quickly. I think that you have nothing. Like, I think that you might not be recovering from it. You might not be recovering.
Mm.
You might be just adjusting to a new way that your leg's working. Oh,
How long did it take you to recover?
I started limping back like almost I started getting almost back to normal like limp walking very quickly, which was another reason why I thought I was recovering so quickly. And my physio was like, "Nah, there's something different here. That's not a recovery that you're facing so quickly." Yeah, I I, I feel like, is that enough of an answer? I don't know if you want me to go more into that, or we
I
want
mean,
to
it's
go
just
more
like
to.
a really interesting point of your life, I guess, because it's like when you transition to becoming like after that like a creative, right? Or like more.
Well, I was already like doing whatever I could to act, write, or direct, and there's always people talking about how you have to face just constant rejection, which is definitely the case. And I can't tell if being a creative of color has also made it harder, because maybe something I regularly do, and I try not to, but you look at people and then you shouldn't compare yourself, but you do, and you think, man, if only I'd committed to like making those weekly YouTube videos. If only I would had committed to making feature films like Mark Duplass and his brother. Is it pronounced Duplass?
I'm not sure.
But those guys that like regularly make indie feature films. Because you could have done it back then, you know, like, and now, even though everyone and their grandma has like a cell phone, a camera phone, we're still waiting for opportunities to come, as opposed to like making our opportunities, most of us.
Yeah.
So, in a very long-winded way, that's what got me into writing, directing, and acting. And then acting got me into a long, lovely conversation with our dear friend Young Choi, who
Hi, Young.
who at the end of a long chat over, I think it was a morning coffee, said, "Do you like podcasts, Ben?" And I was like, "No, I think they're a waste of time." And he said, "Well, there's this one where I think maybe you'd get into." And I was like, "Oh, I really don't think I will." But he recommended I listen to Critical Role, and then because I started a new job, I started listening to it at work, because you're just stuck in a noisy room doing some of the work there. And I was just freaking hooked. And I realized I was hooked when there was a huge plot twist, and I broke down and cried at work. And it was great. And I think that was the moment where I was like, this is incredible. And when that happened, I think 2 or 3 more times, I looked around, couldn't find any that were specifically Asian voices, and then hounded Young to agree to DM a campaign, because I didn't understand so many of the norms of it. Like, I didn't know that you could just buy a book and read off the book and do a module. I thought you always had to create your own world. So, in a very funny sense, to anyone who plays D&D or the regular for a long time, I only started playing last year, I created an entire world and thought that was what you had to do as a DM. I did not think you could just buy a book and read it and lead the people through that adventure. But it turned out better this way, because this way I have full control of exactly what I want to do. I'm gonna regularly bring in myth and lore from the fantasy that we've all grown up watching, very much like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, and throw in as much stuff from Asian culture that I can find as possible, and New Zealand, Aotearoa kind of mythology and lore as well. I cannot wait until you guys meet a Taniwha.
Oh man, yes. And that's what I love about it. It's like, because you've chosen to like create this whole world basically from scratch, it can be like super unique to our, I guess, experiences as like POC or Asians living in Aotearoa, and sort of drawing on like all the media and folklore, like you said, that we've grown up with. So, damn man, that's a lot of work though.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much work it was, which is probably what helped.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard many times of people who, like, they agree to do a project, they don't realize what a big task they're agreeing to.
It's always more than you expect,
but
right?
Because they don't realize how big it is, that's why they succeed.
That's why they get into it, yeah.
And that's definitely very much a case here.
Do you reckon like your experience like in screenwriting and playwriting has really helped with the D&D campaign?
And I was talking to a friend, Tom Wardle, who has his own podcast called Deja Team Go, which is hilarious and amazing, and is very much like for Kiwi blokes playing D&D, unabashedly loving it, and it is so heartwarming. He talked about how usually if you're creative, if you've ever thought you wanted to write a book, if you ever thought you wanted to be an actor, if you ever thought you wanted to be a director, you ever thought you were into theater, D&D feel like allows you to do all those things without you even expecting that it will. Like, I'm not particularly big on voices, but I love that I get to play with all of the different players in our campaign on different levels. I love that I can throw like backstory at you that we've created together, and I love that I can essentially corner each of you in different moments and be like, this is going to be dramatic or moving, but you don't know which way. And usually the dice roll will depend that as well. It's so crazy. And it's so interesting that the first time I ever heard of D&D was at church, and they were saying, do not do this or Satan will get you.
Oh my God, seriously?
Oh, yeah. I hadn't heard of it before, but I feel like looking at it now, like you can directly see how it affects pretty much every game we have.
Totally, man. Like D&D's like the OG, like
Yeah.
video game.
Yeah.
It's like this shit you make up when you're like, you know, hanging out with your mates or playing with your siblings or whatever. I mean,
Like the idea of health points, the idea of like how you select your players, the idea of what you might do in the beginning of the campaign or beginning of the story might directly affect what happens at the end. It's incredible. Did you ever read the Lone Wolf books?
No, I don't think I did.
So it was a choose your adventure book, and
I loved those though. Yeah.
And a friend, James Dunning, he recently like sent me a website where they taken all the text and put it online so you could play again. And I was just like, man, this is my teenhood. Pretty much exactly the same time when just before I discovered skateboarding, I was hugely into fantasy and like choose your own adventure books. And then I found out that the author of that series, I don't know how this would have worked back then. I'm sure it would have changed since, but he was a world champion Dungeons and Dragons player. Don't know how that works. I think there's something called the Adventurers League where you can like compete directly against other people in the world.
How does it? Yeah, how do you even rank
I don't know.
that?
I don't know how you would, like maybe it's according to your XP.
Oh,
but
maybe.
we're not playing an XP campaign.
Yeah, you'd have to have like by the rules, by the book kind of campaign.
It does sound like
character.
it's very, from what I've heard, and people will listen to this and be like, he's got it all wrong. But
yeah, we're noobs.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I think you're not allowed to homebrew anything. So that probably isn't. It's probably via experience points, really.
Damn,
Yeah.
That's so interesting. It's like esports, but with D&D. The D&D
Esports
version.
before esports existed.
Esports before esports.
Pen and paper sports, really.
Yeah, and you were telling me about a time when people used to play D&D by mail, and they would like write letters for their moves, and that would take like a week, and then you had to wait and see like what the DM would say.
I only came across that because I follow the Dungeons and Dragons Facebook page, and one of the players on one of their sponsored campaigns or something like that talked about how she had been playing since I think she was a teenager as well. And when she started, it was via mail.
God damn, the
so
patience you have.
Yeah, you're in it for the long haul, and you have to really like. You have to really choose. Like none of
choose
this bullshit
wisely.
stuff.
Yeah. Like
very specifically, I want to win this adventure. I want to kill that dragon, rule this dungeon, get that gold.
Yeah, not argue for 20 minutes about fucking soap, right?
Yeah.
We fluff around so much, but that's what I love about it. Actually.
Yeah, I think the fluffing around is important now.
Yeah.
Fluffing around is possibly an unfortunate choice of words. Let's just move past that.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, let's go into your backstory, Ankita Singh. How did you get started in creativity? What was your creative journey?
My goodness, Ben. I guess I'll give the lowdown, what I usually say. So I was born in India.
Mm.
And I moved to Hamilton when I was about 6 years old.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Or Kiwi-Asian, as we like to say today. Or the Tron, I guess you could also call it. I think. So first of all, I didn't grow up in Auckland, so didn't really have much of a Asian or creative community around. I mean, there is in Hamilton, for sure, but like me as a kid, I didn't know what the hell was going on, so kind of just grew up there. I got really I used to play so many video games, I still am a huge weeb. Love anime, loved video games. And then around like high school, we like had media studies class, and that's when around the time I got like a really shitty old camera, and I just started getting into like filming things, and saved up enough money, got my first DSLR, and like got into photography. And I used to draw a lot as a kid, like a lot. I thought I wanted to be an illustrator, but my parents were kind of like, no. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And so I decided to study communications at AUT because it was like, oh, this is kind of like media-esque without, you know?
It's close enough that I'll do it.
It's close enough. It's close enough. It's close enough to be like, when people ask my mom, like, what does your daughter do? She's like, like design, architecture, like something like that. I'm like, not at all communications, but it's close enough, mom. But yeah, I mean, communications is like media studies and journalism and film, basically. So yeah, and then after that, I'd always been a bit of a drama nerd. Like I definitely did do drama in like my senior year of high school. I was like, screw the rules. I have green hair now. I was like, I'm gonna just do drama because up until then, my parents had sort of been like, nah, don't do it. It's useless.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, screw it. It looks like fun. I like it. So yeah, I did that and loved it.
What was your grad show?
Oh man, what did we do? Like something dumb, like Lady Windermere's fan or something. No, my last production that wasn't the Shakespeare production was The Caucasian Chalk Circle by Bertolt Brecht.
Yeah.
And I was like, I played a few characters in that, which one of them included a stereotypical Indian doctor, and also a drunken monk, which actually might have been the origin of Rain.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
So Rain.
No, I was a pastor. I was dressed in monk robes, and I was like drunk, and I was like sleeping in my chapel. It was really weird, but the drama teacher let me do it, so.
Oh, so wait, you brought an interpretation to the drama teacher?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. She was just like, yeah, just do whatever. And I did. I went kind of nuts.
So for those of you who don't know, like Rain is Ankita's character in our campaign. And would you say that Rain is heading in the way of like being a monk of the drunken fist?
Oh my God. Actually, yeah. I think I need to talk to you about my monk class. I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Yep.
So, yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. Moved to Auckland for university. And I guess my, background in theater sort of influenced me towards like, we started up like with a bunch of my mates who might be watching this as well, a drama performance arts club. And we did a few productions with that.
What was it called?
It was called Adapt. It was like art, drama.
Whoa, I heard about it, but I didn't really connect that
something.
at the time.
Yeah, so we actually did a couple of productions. One of them was like, we made this like original production, which was like an intern going to hell. And like all the sins are like these really like fucking like, it's The Office, but like set in hell. And they're always like trying to get their soul count up. And it was like this intern has like no idea what the hell he's doing and then meets the devil and he's like this really friendly, but like, like kind of dumb manager.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It was like so good, actually. Like it was dumb, but it was like for a couple of uni students who like, were just doing it for fun. I thought it was
Did you produce that as well?
I was kind of on the committee, but I don't feel like I did anything ever. I think I just helped make the poster once or twice.
Okay.
It was a bit of a dropkick. But I was part of, there for the lols. We had two really good like producers who were like Simon Tate. He works at Q now. Hi, Simon. And also Lauren and a couple other people who were like, really awesome.
Is Simon the guy who works in the ticketing?
Simon, he works in marketing now. He's like this ginger guy. Really funny.
I definitely have seen him. I cannot place the face. I know I've seen the name.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Simon.
introduce
I'm sure
you guys.
that will become best friends at some point.
Yeah, he was hilarious. He's a good dude. Oh yeah, part of my degree was doing an internship, and so I interned at Indian Ink Theatre Company. And I always thought I was gonna like go to film school after, AUT. I was like, I'll just go to that one in Wellington. And then it was like a deep dark hole. I, interned at Indian Ink for like almost a year. And then what did I do? And then I met Ahi. Ahi's like, another one of our fairy godmothers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was like looking to get into producing because I thought because I studied creative industries and I saw like a huge lack of like support for artists of color and just in general, like, just so many structural problems with like, even like pay and funding. And so I was like, I'm a creative, but at the same time I saw there was like this huge dearth of like producers in Auckland, like lack of. And so I was like, I'll give it a shot and like see what happens. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I want to try and help. So yeah, he heard that I was interested in producing, and he came up to me one day and he was like, hey, I'm doing this show called First World Problems. We're on in 2 weeks. Do you want to produce it?
You're on in 2 weeks?
Literally. Literally. It was nuts. And obviously, thank God I didn't know how much work it would be because I fucking said yes and almost died. But I think we had 3 weeks, but we made the show in 2 weeks. Like, that was like one of the most intense things I've done. Like, we worked with 18 South Asian creatives.
That was a great show.
He was like, running rehearsals every day. And we were so worried that people wouldn't want to come see the show because it would be like, what are these brown people doing?
How fast did you sell out?
This? Like, we sold out like a week in advance.
Yeah.
Like, I was so surprised. Like,
I'm not.
Yeah. And it helped that, it did help that we have a big cast, but honestly, I think people were just like thirsty for seeing like voices of like difference and face of difference on stage.
Like, there are definitely stories of people who could not comprehend why that show did so well because they came from a place of like, but I'm a trained actor.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go and see these
amateurs?
18 voices of color who don't know what they're doing?
Like, yeah.
But that was important.
Yeah. And it's like some of these people like never got the opportunities that, for example, I did. Like, at least I was able to, go to kind of like do an arts degree basically and be lucky enough to like, get an internship and sort of just land my way into the sort of creative industry. And a lot of these people in our community have had to sort of, for a lot of reasons, like go into like a regular day job, even if they are creative, And that's like, straight up, it could just be like, I need to get a visa, I need to get my PR, or I need to get money to like support my family, Because like, yeah, like having a creative job is like pretty unstable. And for a lot of like, especially for a lot of migrants, like it's not, the most obvious or the easiest career path to go down. So a lot of these guys, like they're straight up like doctors and they still find, time to, I know, right? Like make the parents proud, and they still find the time to write and direct and, create. And it's like, it's hard.
It's hard. Super funny that I have had at least, I think 4 doctor friends who all have asked me if they should stop being a doctor so they can pursue acting.
Do it. Join us.
Well, they're already they're already like do it whenever they can.
Yeah, it's like, why have money and be an actor? Like, come on, man.
And like I was thinking about that the other day, like just to go on a slight tangent of why is it so specific to like that Asian 3? Those 3
doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yeah, those are the only ones that are worthy. Why is it those 3?
Man, it's like the most stable. It's got social prestige. Like, I know nursing is also a big one in a lot of communities.
But never as highly as a doctor. Even though I feel like, should I? No, like I don't know if nurses work hard. I'm sure they work freaking hard.
Oh, but yeah, I guess there's like that inequality, eh?
Yeah, like it almost sounds like, oh, why are you a nurse? Because you failed doctor school? It's like, that's so unfair.
Right? I hear it's like real big in the Filipino community though. Yeah. But like for like Indians and I guess for like a lot of East Asians, it's like doctor, lawyer, engineer. I don't know. Is doing accents like still okay?
They are if you're from from that heritage.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. I'm brown.
That's right. You can't see your skin color if you're just like listening to this in a podcast.
Yeah. Look at the photo. Look at me. Oh, accounting is also one, right? Chartered accountant. Yeah. Chartered accountant. Lawyer? No, I already said lawyer.
Yeah, so doctor, lawyer, engineer,
and
accountant.
Accountant, maybe.
is there a fifth one? There might be like five that are like, okay, you are acceptable, you are worthy.
Architect?
No, I don't think so.
Only if you make money, I guess.
I feel like maybe you have to be an award, like you have to be top of the game, and that's like international, like internationally renowned architect or something.
Yeah, shit out of luck. It's only those four.
Because even if it's so weird that like you usually, if we're going with the stereotype, as a child, you are asked to play the piano, the violin, maybe the guitar. Usually the piano.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then there's a whole thing of like, okay, well, then if you decide to pursue a musical career, your parents are like, why are you
like surprise Pikachu face?
Yeah. Why would you do this to me?
I forced you to play piano for 10 years.
It's like, how could you do this?
How could you do this?
Why? You love the piano more than you love me?
It's always the emotional blackmail, man. It's always the emotional blackmail. Or they like force you to do like extracurricular because now they're like catching on to like, oh, they want that kind of stuff for university. And so they let you do the dance classes, the Bharatanatyam or whatever. And then you're like, oh, I want to be a dancer. Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah. Like, you want to be a dancer more than you want to be a doctor? They're both a D word. Just pick the one that I want.
But definitely don't pick the dishonor word. Bringing dishonor on the family. But did you find it like quite hard, like being a creative with Asian parents?
My parents are very liberal. I was probably incredibly lucky, and going down the route of us talking about how something might be harder so you don't realize how much work it's going to be. I was probably that kid where they didn't realize how much work I was going to be. I love my parents. They've been incredibly supportive in many different ways, but we had so many communication problems growing up. Was it hard? Always. So many people have it way rougher than I had. I know people who there's this one story I got told where a family friend wanted to be a painter, and when her parents found out, they took all her paintings and burnt them in front of her. Whoa. And said, you will stop painting now. And, like, it's so crazy because that comes from a place of you want to financially provide for your kid. You want your kid to be okay. You don't want your kid to be a starving artist. So you break their dreams and force them to do something that will earn them money. And that family friend said, this was a very painful lesson that helped, but it definitely left a lot of emotional baggage. And I think that she talked about how she hated her parents for a long time after that. Like she never. It's so crazy. Like if only they'd done something like, okay, fine.
If they communicated.
Yeah, if you can only paint on weekends.
Yeah, like compromise, man. Yeah.
As opposed to like, you will stop painting.
Yeah.
Like, or friends who are like, Pan-Asian, and they tell their parents that they want to act, and then the parents are like, oh, no, you don't. I'm going to find ways to stop you from ever doing this. So they have to like attend drama school in secret. Or they
oh my God, I know so many people who've done that. Yeah, lied to their parents like, I'm doing a, dentist degree, and like they fucking go to Toi Whakaari. We know who you are.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I think that level of persecution, trials, tribulations, that really forces you to be like, oh, you know what? No, I do want to do this bad. So you fight tooth and nail for it.
Totally. Like, even in the best of circumstances, you got to fight for, like, what you want, right? Or
even when it's equal footing.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that we, in our social circle, we know people that have, like, they have overcome those odds, graduated, managed to create or be parts of shows that are professional theater. But then, at some point, especially if it's a theater show, that show comes to an end and their parents are like, oh, very good. Now what?
Yeah.
You know? And
now what?
Yeah, it's just,
It's painful. Yeah.
It is.
Right? Like, I think a lot of people, like, do the work and they get real self-aware and they, like, heal and, like, you know, most of them I talk to, even, like, you know, how you're talking about your friend, like, similar stories, they'll say they love their parents and they understand that it was coming from a place of, like, fear, that they just wanted their kids to be okay. And, yeah, but I think it's still, like, there's still, like, that, I don't know.
It's
baggage or, like...
Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
And now, you know, like with coronavirus going on around the world and the Black Lives Matter being so prominent, you can definitely see so many levels of inequality that are being challenged. And some people don't get that Asian people might be looking at that and be like, okay, I see how now I have to behave in order to get ahead, or I'm now learning from what you guys are saying of like how to behave to be seen as normal, or how I can possibly take advantage of opportunities that come my way. But maybe that's a bit too vague. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, you mean like just in terms of like, oh, people want diversity, so I'm gonna...
So I'm going to be the most diverse person ever.
Yeah, bitch.
That's a troubling...
trend.
Well, yeah, because there are people who think it's a trend. There are people who think, oh, at some point this diversity thing is going to be over and I won't have to worry about it anymore. And that is heartbreaking to know. Because I have definitely heard someone say that in a panel about casting, and they were a person of color.
Whoa.
And it was like, man, if you as a person of color feels like diversity is a trend that's going to become uncool at some point.
Problematic.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, it's not an accident. Like, it's like from the work of like decades of people like advocating and fighting to like create space for us in like predominantly, you know, white industries. So yeah, I mean, you could say like people are capitalizing on it, like, you know, it is becoming like because we live in a capitalist society, like everything's gonna become a commodity, right? And whether that's like POC or like differently abled, like I've seen plenty of things where people will just cast you or chuck you in there and just like get that funding, get that money.
Or get your name attached.
Yeah, exactly. And be like, look, we're woke. We're not systemically, like, you know, just fucking supremacist or whatever.
Something that's been happening a lot is people reaching out to... they're writing projects that are, like, specifically Maori or East Asian or South Asian, and then being like, oh, I just need to, like, add on someone's name as a cultural advisor or cultural consultant.
I love that. Cultural advisor.
So that I get a pass. And it's just like, man, don't do that.
Yeah. Why don't you actually hire an actual writer from that community or a director, or make sure your creative team is mostly made up of those people. But no, like...
There are some people who are fighting the good fight, and maybe they're a bit ignorant, and there are other people who are just like trying to make a quick buck or trying to figure out the best way to present themselves.
Yeah.
And at some point you can tell. At some point you can tell who the good ones are. Who the people are that you should avoid. Yeah.
Trust your gut. Trust the vibes, you know? Like, if people have good intentions, I think it, like, you know, you can always tell, you know? They're not just there to, like, exploit.
Yeah, like kind of how I feel like you can tell that about when people want to get to know you in general, right? Like, you hang out with someone long enough, you know whether they want to know you for you, or they want to know you so they don't look racist.
Holy shit, I've never even thought about that.
Which was it? There was a comedian, I think it was crap, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Is it Hassan?
Oh yeah, Hassan,
yeah. And he talks about how, like, after watching Get Out, there are probably some kids out there, some white kids out there who are like, I need friends, and the difference between I need friends and I need like 2 friends of color. Like the idea of having 2 friends.
I need one Asian and I need one black person.
Like that's the premise of Get Out, right? Like I need one black person so I don't look racist. And you're like, oh damn, like that's awkward. And there are definitely people in relationships in that situation, you know? Like I need an Asian wife so I don't look racist. And holy shit, are they racist? And their wife.
I'm not racist because my wife is Asian.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have a Maori friend. Yeah. Yeah.
I see him on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I say Kia ora to him.
I'm not racist.
Yeah. White fragility.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It's that fragility. And even like in that POC community is like super like fragile too. And like I think a lot of the issues we have within our own community like need to be addressed. But it's like as long as you're like open to like just learning, you know? I think that's the thing. And also like open to like having conversations with people. Because I feel like it's like, I talk about this all the time. Like it's so easy to like just cancel someone. But like what about actually just talking to them, trying to. I know there's a whole thing about like it's not your responsibility to educate, and I totally agree with that. But yeah, I guess there's that middle ground, right? It's like,
well, you can only educate someone if they want.
If they're
want
open,
to meet you
if someone's
and have that
genuinely
conversation.
open, and I know people like a lot of my white friends are like sometimes just scared to like even ask questions. It's like it's cool, man. Like I know, like you're open, you're putting in the work, you know. You're Googling, and sometimes Google doesn't have the, you know, like exact thing you're looking for. So yeah, like any white friends listening to this, like just talk to me.
Yeah, talk to Ankita.
Yeah, listen to Dumplings and Dragons.
We're coming up on an hour.
Oh my god, already?
Yeah, I think so. Like that went real fast.
We literally just rambled.
Well, that's good. Like this is
That's
what
what a podcast is.
All of our dumplings and
apparently.
chai times are gonna be like.
Yeah,
So-
next time we'll have chai. We don't have chai, but
Yeah,
we'll.
and probably some dumplings.
Oh my god, yeah.
Let's bring it back to maybe a couple of questions about D&D, I think, to maybe wrap it up, because this was really cool. It was really good to be able to tell you about some of my experiences and hear some of your experiences of how we eventually even crossed paths.
Yeah, origin stories.
Yeah. What has been the most surprising thing for you D&D wise? Because this is the first campaign that you've ever played, right?
Yeah.
Like it's been really fascinating because we are all so new, and there are definitely people who be like, they're doing everything wrong, and I've basically heard from some of my friends that's like, that's fine, let them say that, because every campaign is going to be different, and ultimately, as long as the DM creates a game that the players enjoy, that's the main aim of the game.
And we love you, Ben. It's very fun.
Oh, good. Finally. That's all we
Validation.
needed. That's all we needed to get.
Yeah,
we can leave now.
I'm moving down to Queensland.
With Sugi.
Oh, yeah, man. I have always wanted to play D&D. Like, as I said, I'm a weeb. I'm a nerd. Like, I just never had any friends when I was growing up. So, no, I feel like, yeah, this is great. I love it. I love everything about it. One unexpected thing, really getting into your character, maybe? I'll literally be thinking, like, during the day, oh, what would Rain do in this situation? Or, like, oh, damn it, oh, Rain should have said this. Or, like, no, Rain wouldn't do that. Or, like, how dare you assume things about Rain? Like, when people are like, oh, my God, this is such a Rain thing to do. And I was like, you don't know me. You don't know Rain. Like, get the fuck off. He's my child. But he's, like, a scummy 80-year-old pervert. But he's my child. I'm getting, like, really angry.
This is great. Like, what?
Don't just assume. You don't know him.
What's the biggest way that you and him differ as player and character?
Oh, dude.
Because you would know this more than anyone.
Well, first of all, he's like a badass martial artist and like can like hand someone's ass to them.
I've always loved that phrase. So
yeah,
so
right.
funny
Me
to me.
too. But oh man, this is like getting kind of deep. But like I like how Rain's like super confident and like not afraid to just like just be himself and do himself and just like do himself. Yeah, that as well. But like, yeah, like I feel like the way he moves in the world is like totally like a lot more carefree than me, because I'm like always like like always having to think about like, being like a brown woman, like how you like move in spaces. And maybe it's just something I think about a lot because I don't know, I also have like social anxiety, and like I used to be like a super shy person when I was growing up. So yeah, just like all those things, it's really cool to be able to like be someone who's like just kind of out there, just living their best life. And yeah.
I want to expand on that a little bit because I was watching some of the behind the scenes from Critical Role, and the producer and one of the main players, Marisha Ray, she talks about how excuse me, D&D taught her like empathy, team building exercises, how to like plan, how to like work as a unit together to overcome problems. And it's really fascinating because like, you're literally talking about fictional monsters or like mental puzzles, but sometimes you might have to work with the group to figure out how those things work. Otherwise, the story can't continue. And someone pretty close to me recently told me about how they are dealing with their social anxiety by playing D&D and playing a character that does not get socially anxious. And so because it's a game, they are allowed to see how they would be without the social anxiety, which has started to feed into their real lives by like, oh, but I know I feel socially anxious about this situation, but my character wouldn't. I could do something my character says, which is really interesting because it's just a fictional character.
Holy shit,
right?
it's D&D therapy, man.
Yeah, totally. Oh.
But actually, yeah.
Yeah, there was something that almost made me tear up, and it was recently I shared a video, and so there's a pretty high profile individual who's in the D&D world called Satine Phoenix, and she very openly talks about how she's dealing with childhood trauma of being molested by playing D&D.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, right? And when she said that in the video, I think I stopped the video and just thought for a second, like, this is, sure, it's just a game, but it's capable of so much more. Like, you're able to put yourselves in situations and learn things. I could probably, given enough time, if I was an expert in certain subjects, the DM could teach the players a subject if the players had to learn the subject for the narrative to continue.
Oh my god, and they would, because the motivation would be like so high. Yeah. Like gamify your life, man.
Imagine doing that, and I think that it's capable of so much.
It's so powerful. It's such a powerful like tool, because I mean, like, why did we even get into what we're into? It's because we love stories, and like we know the power of stories, right? Yeah. It's like growing up reading fiction, playing games, watching movies, like we both know, and like I guess most people listening to this know, like what a powerful like sense of self you can get from like being able to empathize with a character.
And then identify with like, yeah, I'm like that individual who I think is really cool and really badass, and I want to be like that when I grow up.
And you can, like, that's why video games are like having a renaissance, or like that's why D&D is like so powerful, I guess, because like you literally get to be in the shoes of like that character and like experience things you would never experience in like your normal life, you know, which is like why we watch films. It's like to escape and like experience the world from like someone else's perspective.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, that like one of the coolest traits from any fictional character ever is always the idea that they just never give up. And so many of us want that in our lives, that we will happily binge watch a 4-season anime series about a kid who never gives up.
Then he goes to like the most horrific things.
Yeah, like, and you're like, I want to be like that. And you're like, man, if like that was real life, you'd kill so quickly. Yeah.
Freaking like, oh, my parents died, then I got put on this planet, and then now all these aliens are taking, and like,
and I never give up.
And I never give up, yeah.
You're like, I want to be that child.
But I was just thinking before, man, like even with your like skateboarding and everything that happened, like you like never gave up. Like even skateboarding as like a hobby, you were telling me before, it's like mostly falling down.
Yeah, 90%.
Right? And
easily.
that's what being a creative is like. It's like
Yeah.
mostly being rejected. It's mostly failing.
I think, if anything, I've been really lucky because I started being creative through skateboarding. So I kind of anticipated.
You had that inbuilt, like,
Yeah, I kind of had that expectation that, it's going to be mostly falling down.
Yeah. And like having that ability to like get up, dust yourself up. One of my mates has a great like saying. She's like, get up, dress up, show up.
Yeah.
Like no matter like, even if you're not feeling like 100% that day, you have that audition to go to. Like
Yeah, totally.
80% of success is showing up.
Yeah.
And
And then just keep showing up.
And keep
like
showing up.
school, like work.
Like life, man. Like
yeah,
get
auditions.
up. If you can brush your teeth, take a shower, feed yourself, that's fucking amazing. Like you made it another day,
Yeah. And some people, and fair, like some people can't, where they have to spend their day recovering.
And that's okay too. Yeah.
But yeah, you're totally right. It's that whole thing of like just showing up until something good happens. But man, sometimes the showing up is hard. But you somehow find a way to do it anyway.
It's the human spirit, man.
I feel like that's a really good place to end.
Yeah, I got real like preachy.
Well,
inspirational. I got really,
I think that's more important because I feel like if you and I can have a moment just talking about it and feel like, I don't want to give up.
Yeah, we can do this, man. Let's go out there and make shit and fucking live a life. Damn.
So thank you for watching or listening. This has been Dumplings and Chai Time.
Yeah, we're like workshopping a name. What do you guys think? Leave a comment now. But actually, we need a name. Dumplings and Chai?
Dumplings and Chai sounds good.
Yeah.
I think like that's probably going to be it for at least until we decide, no, we're going to scrap that name.
Yeah. Let's okay, yeah. That's a working title. How about that?
Yeah. Let's end on that.
Awesome. I've been your host, Ankita, and
I've been your other host, Benjamin.
We need a sign off. Okay, great. Cool. Make sure you eat, everybody.
No, don't eat everybody.
No. Grandma. English is my second language, but it's like not because my Hindi is trash.
I always just like, whenever I make a mistake in English, I would just like, I'm so sorry. English is just my first language.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
I really need to brush up on my Mandarin.
Oh God, so much to do, man. I can't even read Hindi. I'm illiterate, like literally.
I feel like we ended on a good note, and now
it's just like, oh fuck, man. Okay, stop recording. Recording.
Okay. Peace out.